Hey everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. This is your uncensored match build-up. It's Crystal Palace versus Liverpool, 3 p.m. Saturday at Selhurst Park. Liverpool looking to make it 6 wins out of 6 against actually the only other unbeaten Premier League team. It is going to be a right old battle down in Croydon. I'm Steve, delighted to be joined by Ian and by Lewis for this one. Very quickly before we get into the bulk of the show, just a heads up and another shout out to our season-long sponsors, oosh.co.uk, who are currently running this competition. There's a link in the description. If you're listening to this as a podcast, just go to oosh.co.uk. You can win a Range Rover Sport for 99p. In fact, if you use the code REDMEN when you join that competition, you'll get 20% off. What is 20% off 99p? It's around like 20p, so it's going to cost you 79, 80, something like that. You can work it out, but yeah, why not give it a go? And yeah, thanks to Oosh, they are giving that car away in just over a week's time if you want to get involved. And also thanks to Oosh again for sending 2 more Redmen supporters to the game in midweek as hospitality tickets as well for nothing. Free to enter. 2 of our wonderful subscribers got to go to Liverpool v Southampton. So thanks very much to them, and thanks very much to you guys for checking them out. Right then, guys, I'm going to start. Let's chat about Crystal Palace. Ian, I mentioned at the top of the show, unbeaten so far. Across both seasons, the end of last season into this season, in all competitions, I think it's 17 games without losing. In the Premier League, that's 11 unbeaten, including 4 wins and 7 draws. It's very, very simplistic to say to me. They're a team who are hard to beat. They don't plenty. Worst off they often do is draw a game. It's another big challenge for Liverpool.
It is. It's one of them teams as well that I always think they're a bit of a bogey side against us, and then I see our scores and it's like, actually, we'd actually do pretty well against them.
But there has been a couple of recent draws.
They had very difficult games for us. We apart from probably 2 games I can remember at Selhurst Park, we never really roll them over. They're a very physical team. I think they've got pace this season as well. But we're not just unbeaten with 100%, so I think we should have enough just to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. The team, obviously, Lewis, when you look at Crystal Palace, they obviously they lose Eze in the summer, and obviously that's a big blow to them. And attacking wise, actually, maybe things have slowed down a little bit. But Ismaila Sarr's just coming back from injury. We know he's a dangerous player. Mateta continues to score goals and kick corner flags every other game. Like, I say this quite often on the show, but the first thing you look at when you look at an opposition is, can they score a goal? Can they hurt you? Because if they don't, and they can't really, and I felt a little bit like this with Everton maybe in that game a bit, you'd always back Liverpool to find a way, but actually Palace can definitely contain a goal threat. They do score goals.
Yeah, well, actually they're the 5th highest for shots on target this season, and considering the fact that they've lost Eze, the way they've adapted to it, they've made themselves not a team that's going to free flow and score, but they're just defensively solid. And it's a very vague comparison, but like Chelsea back in 04-05, the way that not every match was a blowout. I think they won 11 matches like 1-0. Palace feel like that sort of team. They're very good defensively. But the big thing for them is when they do push forward on the counter-attack, they're very creative of what they can do. They've got 98 shot creating actions this season, which is actually more than Man City even. There's only 2 behind Tottenham and 3 behind Newcastle. So they are very effective with what they do. Mateta's got 2 goals, Sarr's got 2 goals. So there is that threat of them going forward. And Liverpool this season, how vulnerable we've been on transitions, like Bournemouth is, for example. Palace can cause us major issues there. And one player that doesn't get credit as well is Kamada. He's such a workhorse in the middle of the pitch for them. So as much as we think should beat them, there is definitely a threat there.
I suppose as well, under Ollie Glasner, they've got a set identity of how they play. They all know their role. Again, Liverpool go back to the Community Shield. We got close up to them there in terms of how they looked. You mentioned our record against them's actually all right, but there has been those couple of recent draws. They do well to beat West Ham because it was a bit of a tricky game, and actually Tyreek Mitchell probably scored one of the goals of his life. Yeah. Like it feels like they are very resilient as well. When things aren't going right, they don't look like a team who just throw the towel in. Sometimes I think playing against Liverpool, teams sometimes can do that, but Palace seem very resilient under this manager.
Yeah, well, anyway, when it comes to Liverpool, it's like a cup final for them, isn't it? But they're like a well-oiled machine, Crystal Palace, and I think they have been the last 18 months or 2 years. They're not someone, it's not a fixture you look forward to. I mean, don't get me wrong, the away ground's great and the fans are great, but as a game, it's never really an entertaining game. I don't think it's ever a free-flowing game Liverpool's end as well, because they do well to contain teams. They always, and that's something Crystal Palace have always done, especially at Selhurst Park. So I don't think it'll be lots of goals. I think it'll be whoever wins on Saturday will be a 1 goal. I think it'll be like 2-1, 1-0, something like that.
If you look at their results actually as well, Lewis, obviously opening day of the season they draw away at Chelsea. They've had a couple of European games in there as well, but then they draw at home to Forest. They batter Aston Villa away in terms of the result. 3-0 is a good one, but then they draw 0-0 at home to Sunderland. They go to penalties again, a changed team against Millwall, and then they beat West Ham 2-1. So actually their home form has been a little bit. I imagine they're quite disappointed the fact that they haven't won a home game in the Premier League yet. The only win they've got really is that penalty shootout win over Millwall. So maybe something there for Liverpool. You went back to before. They have got players who can score a goal, but they're not. Villa game aside, they're not banging loads past teams. Ian's right. This feels like it's going to be the odd goal of one that maybe settles this.
Yeah, definitely. But we've got to give them credit in the sense of they lost Elise last summer. Didn't seem to affect them. They've lost Eze this summer. Yeah, they're not as attack and free-flowing, but they've got a solid foundation they've built off of. And my worry is, if it is going to be that 1-0 loss, so to speak, or a 1-0 win or what have you, if we can't break down that stubborn back line, it's only going to go one way. And we saw in the Community Shield how when Palace were expansive and they were pushing the wing-backs wide, like far off the pitch, Frimpong got his free goal, XTK gets his. But then as soon as they went a bit more compact and started hitting us on the counter, we looked open at points. And Palace this season have shown they can soak up pressure. They're actually the 8th highest for tackles in their defensive third, showing that they're willing to let you on them.
They don't press, do they?
No, they don't press at all. They're like the 18th for tackles in the attacking third, so that shows how low down they are. Yeah. And the big worry for Liverpool, as I said before, has been those transitions from defence to attack from opposition sides. So if Palace can soak up pressure as they've showcased, and we've sort of maybe at points struggled to break down defensive blocks like we did with Burnley, did the times at Arsenal, there is a bit of an open concern there for Liverpool if they can handle the attacking threat. As minimal as it is, it's the tactics which Glasner deploys, which could be our undoing if we're not careful.
In terms of the goals, go back to it, and they do have Mateta. I was just looking at some of his stats here. He's age 28 now, so maybe that giant move away might have kind of gone past, which is absolutely fair play to Crystal Palace. They'll be absolutely delighted with that. I'm not sure if anyone's going to come in for a 28-year-old at this point, but he has been a consistent goal for Crystal Palace. I was just looking here, he scored 50 goals for them now in 161 appearances, which, and again, 40 now Premier League goals for him, which again, fantastic. It's not easy to score Premier League goals, really. I always find with him, he might not get loads of chances, but he tends to get the chance and he tends to score it if he does. And that can be a concern. We've seen this before.
And that's what Crystal Palace need, because Crystal Palace don't create that much. So they need someone who's going to bang in 1 and 2, because they're only going to get
especially without Eze.
Yeah, they're only going to get 1 or 2 chances, I think, a game anyway. Big chances anyway. And I was surprised how quick Mateta moves as well. When I first seen him, he didn't seem to move that fast, but he seems to have gotten faster over it. It's weird.
It's just because he's so strong as well. Yeah. You're not going to get in the way of him.
Yeah, he earns himself space like that. Well, Fowler used to do, didn't he? Yeah. With his strength. So find space where there's no space. Crazy. But yeah, he's as close to top class you can be without being £120 million stake.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. he is a good one. The other one is Ismail Assar. The report, again, we'll find out if he's going to play, Lewis, whether he starts or whether he's going to fit off the bench. He was injured. The report in the London Evening Standard yesterday, they think he's going to be back for it. And he's another player. He tends to score in big games. He's if you look at a lot of the big teams, he scored against us. He scored, I think, against City. He's got that in him a little bit. He's another player, and he adds that pace in behind as well that can hit you, because you are right. Crystal Palace are quite defensive. They don't really press you, but they can hit you on the break. And listen, from a Liverpool point of view, I hope he doesn't play. Yeah. But from a Crystal Palace point of view, he does often that threat in behind on the break. And again, one-on-one, he's pretty good. He showed that at Anfield.
Yeah, 100% Community Shield as well. He was a nightmare in that second half in particular. And my main worry is with Mateta being, like you said there, the physical powerhouse who's going to preoccupy, you imagine, Van Dijk and Konate. Ismail Assar is going to have plenty of space to work with, so you need someone like, I know we're going to get to the team sheet, but like a Frimpong to sort of match that intensity of him, because he can go left, he can go right. And it was even when he was at Watford, he was a nightmare for teams to handle. So he's got that sort of skill set of, he's a bit unpredictable. He's very quick playing off the last man. And for someone like Mateta, who's going to hold up play well for him, there's a real danger there. A lot of people have been saying, but he plays like Madueke, like Doku. But the difference is Sarr has an end product. Like, he's able to produce moments of brilliance for them. So as much as Mateta's going to be a big threat for them, Sarr's the real player you've got to look at and think, if we're not careful, he can rip us apart. He
is a good player. I can't believe it. Like, for maybe 15, I'm not sure how we've been going, Ian, into the show that we're talking about Marc Guehi. It is obviously a strange situation. One that, Arne Slot kind of batted away today and said, listen, he's a Crystal Palace player. He plays for Crystal Palace. It is what it is. There's been reports this week that he might join Liverpool as early as January. Crystal Palace had accepted that he's not going to sign a new contract. Obviously, Liverpool have lost Giovanni Leone now for the season with his torn ACL, and best wishes to him. The Guehi thing is going to be interesting in terms of, he comes across as a guy, and again, I don't know him, but I'm just, from what you see, I was like, I don't think this will bother him. I don't think there's a circus or a sideshow. I think he's got his head around the fact that he's staying, he's the captain, it is what it is, but there's going to be a lot of eyes on him this week in particular, and right, so he's a very good defender.
He's one of the best in the league. He really is. I mean, yet again, only one of ours is probably better than him, than Van Dijk. But from what I've seen him, seems a very humble player. Seems very much loves the game. Doesn't look like he wants to cause trouble. Doesn't look like that type of player. And I think he'd be well up for it. Because let's be honest, if he's decided to come to Liverpool, that's great. But if he hasn't, he's massively in the shop window now, and he can apparently he can win with Real Madrid and play in teams like that now. So for the next 6 months, Guehi's going to be on it, because he can earn himself a big signing fee. And
also, there's a World Cup on it. I think that's one of the reasons that he can't just kick off and sit out in food, because he wants to be in that. I think he's a really good defender. Their system is interesting as well, isn't it, Lewis? Because they have got the attacking wing back system, really, aren't they? They tend to use that back three with Guehi, is it Lacroix, whose name I really struggle to say, and then it's been Richards actually, Munoz, maybe Mitchell as flying fullback. So it is a back three. Adam Wharton, and depending on what they do in midfield, sometimes Will Hughes just ratting about, like, I mean that in the nicest possible way, by the way. He can be a nightmare, Will Hughes. He's a real rugged player. That system doesn't always lend itself to, you can play free-flowing football against that. You're going to have to work hard for your space and work hard for your goals, because they'll sit deep. There's not going to be really much of a press. And as you try and play through the lines, if you get past Wharton and Hughes, you've then got that really strong back three. They're quite quick as well. Like you can tell why, again, they're a really well-set-up team who don't tend to concede too many chances and goals.
Yeah, I'm sure I saw something that was like Lacroix is in the top 5% for defensive actions in the Prem, like over the past 365 days. So he's a big player who, I think because Guehi's just the level he is, he doesn't get anywhere near the attention he deserves. He's quality Lacroix. And like you said, with Munoz and Tyreek Mitchell both being very fast, if we're going forward, they're not going to be wing backs who just sit forward and think, oh yeah, they can handle this. They will go back and support that defence. So we're playing as a block of five, like against them at points. And we saw that against Burnley, how difficult it was to break down. And Palace this season have showed they're experts in not being beaten too often. They'll happily grind a game out, at home in particular. They've not been free-flowing, but I think the view in this is, look, if we can just get through as many games as possible, conceding as few goals as possible, the odds of us getting a result because of how effective we are when we do go forward is going to play a big part. In Liverpool this season, without Ekitike, who's been so good at playing off the last man, we're going to have to find a different way to figure them out.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we'll talk about how Liverpool are going to do that in a moment. Before we do, we're going to go to a quick break. We have a competition running for our Redmen Plus Legend subscribers. Let Dan Club tell you all about that, and we'll be back discussing the Liverpool team news, predicting an 11, and having another look around the Premier League fixtures this weekend. See you after this short break.
Hey everyone, it is a new month, which means only one thing. It's time for a new Legend giveaway here at the Redmen TV. If you are already an existing Legend subscriber, you're already in the hat. But if not, what are you waiting for? Get yourself subscribed now as a Legend, and you will be in with a chance of winning this stunning piece of memorabilia. That's right, an iconic vintage Liverpool shirt signed by former Reds captain, legendary Phil Thompson. Not only was he playing career boss, he went on to have a pretty significant coaching career at the football club as well. So proper Liverpool legend status right there. You will get loads of amazing perks as a legend subscriber, as well as a chance of winning that beautiful piece of kit alongside me. Get yourself there now. Get it done. redmenplus.com. Legend subscriber. See you.
Yeah, get yourselves involved. What a prize that is, a shirt signed by European Cup winning captain Phil Thompson. If you don't want that, I don't know what you want. I can't help you. I really can't help you. Right then, guys, let's talk about the Reds. Arne Slot's press conference today, Ian, obviously, we all suspected Gio Leone's out for the season. Yeah. He's torn his ACL, so he won't be involved. I'm not sure he'd have been involved anyway, to be honest with you. But yeah, that was a real shame, real kick in the nuts for the Liverpool team, obviously, but more so for the player. A young lad just arrived on his debut, torn ACL out for the season. It was a real kick in the nuts there.
It was, and he looked so good as well. Looked so composed, so big for an 18-year-old lad. He looks like the most scoutest Italian I've ever seen in my life as well. He's proper, but yeah, he's got a bright future. It's going to be a tough 12 months for him, but I think he looks like he's going to be a top class defender.
Unfortunately, it's going to be a while till we get to see him. Other than that, Lewis, Liverpool tend to have a pretty full strength squad. Now, not everyone's able to do 90 minutes again. The manager spoke about Alexander Isak in that regard, and we'll get to the strikers later, but other than Leone, he does have a relatively fit squad, so he's got to decide how and he's going to use them. So we'll try and work back to front. Obviously, it's going to be Alisson, it's going to be Van Dijk, it's going to be Konate, we know that. Ryan Gravenberch is going to play. But in terms of the bits around that, I think there's a conversation to be had in terms of the defence in the field. Is it as simple as Robertson played in midweek, so Kerkez come straight back in at left back, or do you think there's a chance he goes back to Andy Robertson?
No, I think it's Kerkez for this, because you've got to think as well, the only reason Kerkez came on is because Leone got injured. If he hadn't got injured, there's no guarantee he would have been getting game time. And there's a narrative going around, and I bitted it a bit yesterday, where everyone's saying Kerkez has been the flop at left back this season. The first two games, yeah, fair enough. Arsenal, he looked class, gave Madueke a real headache. Burnley, yeah, stupid yellow card, but up until that point, he looked good. Everton, I thought he was class. Yeah. So I'm not having this narrative of he's been poor, so drop him for Robertson. Kerkez will probably start, because like you said, Robertson had Southampton. He got minutes as well, like earlier on. So he'll probably come in. And then at right back, as I say, I think you need Frimpong for this match. I know he wasn't good against Southampton. He was pretty average, pretty poor at points in that first half. But I just think when you're going against Ismaila Sarr, the big issue Bradley's had so far is his decision-making when he has the ball. He doesn't know whether to huff it. He doesn't know whether to pass it. He looks a bit unsure. He was all right against Grealish at points. But I think Frimpong gives you that recovery pace, which against someone like Sarr, who's going to have space to work with, lots of running power, you need someone who can match it. And while he's like... Going forward, he hasn't been as electric as we would like, bar maybe that Community Shield match in the first games of the season. I'm more concerned about us being covered defensively, and I just think Frimpong gives us that little bit of extra edge against the fast player like Sarr that maybe a Bradley would.
Yeah, let us know in the comment section right back then, Bradley or Frimpong. What do you think?
I think Frimpong, only because I think we're going to need his pace because of how strong they are on the counter-attack. I'm not saying Bradley's slow, far from it, but one of the things that Frimpong has shown is that he can get back, and he gets back, he's rapid. If only could have been a little bit faster to get to Hugo Tico before he took his change off the other day. But he's absolutely rapid, and that is going to be a big thing to have, I think, tomorrow.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, makes sense. Midweek suggests it's probably going to be Conor Bradley.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I see the value in that one. Midfield, like Gravenberch is going to play. This is where it gets interesting because there are so many good options. I mean, we didn't even mention Szoboszlai at right back, whether that become a thing again. Maybe he's done it before, but he's got Szoboszlai, McAllister, Jones, Florian Wirtz, of course. Most of these lads got a full week off, Lewis. Curtis Jones didn't, which suggests maybe he starts this one on the bench. But we're looking at 2 from 3 from McAllister, Wirtz, Szoboszlai. It's a nice problem to have for Arne Slot. How do you think he goes about solving said problem?
Well, to be honest, I don't know about you, I was a bit shocked Wirtz wasn't involved in the Southampton match. I understand he's played a lot recently, but Isak going in was to build fitness and confidence. I mean, that goal's going to do him a world of good. I thought Wirtz might have got the same sort of treatment. But I just think, at the moment, Szoboszlai's made himself undroppable. whether it's right back, whether it's midfield, the work rate he brings, the way when Gravenberch goes forward, he drops to that single pivot or vice versa, his tenacity, his passing range between the lines. I think at the moment, Szoboszlai has made that position his, and is actually McAllister trying to push him out of it. Not saying he's better, not saying anything like that, but when McAllister's not fit, when he's at 100%, there's moments where he can feel a bit like a passenger, and we've seen that quite a bit recently. So I think at the moment, stick with what's working, stick with Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, and give Wirtz the opportunity again in front of him.
I think Szoboszlai and Gravenberch have been two of our most outstanding players this season.
Probably the two. Them two and Virgil, probably the three.
I think like you just used the words undroppable there, and I think you're absolutely spot on. I think the game on tomorrow is the reason we signed Wirtz, where you're going to struggle to break a team down. That's where we need Wirtz, and I think now we need to start showing a little bit now. We can all say he needs time and stuff like that, and I get that. He wasn't the one who picked the price, but unfortunately it's there. I think we need him to arrive now. We've got through now 5 games, all won. Now it's now for you to sign up, lad.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because, I agree. By the way, I think Szoboszlai has to play. I think I should have maybe even put him in the conversation of the lads who were definitely going to play in the first 2 positions. But I think it was a conversation. I do think there's a logic to leaving Wirtz on the bench and playing McAllister if you want a bit more tenacity. You know, Wharton and Will Hughes are very tenacious players, but I think you've got to play Florian Wirtz now. I think you've got to play him after leaving him out against Everton because, again, fitness related, and then not picking him in midweek. I think you've got to go. And again, I'm with you. I think it's an easy decision at this moment in time, Lewis, just because Alexis has been a bit off it. He's still clearly not 100% fit. I think that it's an easier conversation for the managers to have to listen. Tuesday sound, but right now I think you're not at your best. We're going to give Florian another go.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely right. And in that Everton game, McAllister, there were glimpses in the first half of him back to his best, like the passing leading up to Ekitike's goal, but he faded quick. And against this Palace team, who, for all that they're a defensive masterclass at the moment in not shipping goals, not allowing many chances, it's the work rate from, like you say, Wharton, Will Hughes, Kamada tracking back. McAllister won't be able to keep that intensity up for a long time. And Florian Wirtz has been rested against Southampton. He will, as much as it's sometimes ineffective, I think his movement off the ball, his defensive work, his attacking work, his pressing, this is a game where you need to beat them pace for pace, Crystal Palace, to get a lot of joy with them. And Florian Wirtz, as much as people are expecting, because of I know how I'm trying to explain this, but because this is the first time in a long, long time we've signed a player where the price tag is the main thing, like there was Nunez, Van Dijk, blah, blah, blah. Everyone's thinking, right, should be 5 goals, should be 5 assists, should be hitting the ground running. He hasn't hit that height yet, but he will. And I think that in the same way that Isak got the goal against Southampton, it's only going to take one moment for Wirtz and it's going to unlock, and that could be against Crystal Palace.
I don't even think, I tweeted this week here, I don't think he's going to be that player anyway. I mean, he might have been in Germany. I think he's going to be like the pre-assist. He's going to get the pass that's going to make the assist rather than actually.
He'll do the groundwork.
He'll do the ground. That's the type of player I think he'll be anyway. But as much as I've just said, I think Wirtz will play tomorrow. I think if Curtis Jones hadn't played midweek, I think he'd have been the choice, because I just think this season I don't think he's been as great on the ball this season, but I think his work off the ball is improved massively to Curtis Jones this season.
Yeah, Liverpool definitely going to have a strong bench in midfield, that's for sure. So we're going with Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Wirtz.
Yeah,
that's fine. So Salah's going to play. We know that. This is where it gets a little bit interesting. The manager pretty much confirmed today. Obviously, we know no Hugo Ekitike for one of the silliest red cards you're ever going to see. Didn't get fined, by the way. Honest, I'll confirm that.
I myself. I couldn't contain it.
When he said, by the way, it didn't fine him. Nice one for dropping that in. Anna reads and sees everything. Don't know. And he's quite happy to correct people if he believes erroneous reporting has taken place. Isak's going to play. I thought at some point, Lewis, there might have been a world where Federico Chiesa started this game. And that might have happened if not for Ekitike's red card, because he could have started Chiesa on the left. I don't think Cody Gakpo's having the greatest couple of weeks. However, because Isak can't play the full 90 minutes, Chiesa's probably going to have to come on up front at some point in the game, which makes it very, very likely that we're going to see Gakpo, Isak, Salah, with then Chiesa coming on for Isak at some point. Rio and Gamoa is then your options perhaps on the left-hand side if you need to change there. You've still got the likes of Frimpong, Wirtz, who can also go into that front three as well. But is that your read of it as well, that we're probably going to start with Isak and then at some point see Federico Chiesa?
Well, I think he said that in the sort of, it was the same question, weren't it, about Isak starting that then led to Federico. And it was Newcastle and Bournemouth. He did come on through the centre when Ekitike went off. So yeah, I'd agree with that. And it's a shame because I do think there would have been a world for Chiesa to go on the left-hand side. I think Gakpo, this season, the way he's operated, it's just rinse and repeat, get the ball, hold it up, cut inside, find someone. Like that Atletico Madrid game, for example, different kettle of fish, I know, but that was crying out for someone to just go at them, use the space out wide. Gakpo doesn't do that. And against Palace, who, if they go on the counter, we win the ball back and we're experts at doing that transition to attack, there's going to be space to work with. Gakpo will not exploit that space like a Chiesa would or an Ngamoa would. So there's definitely a world where I would have played Chiesa based on the form, based on the fitness. But it is going to be Gakpo. As much as we can sort of rip him and say, he's not been good, he's not been doing this, he's not been doing X, Y, Z. He plays the way Slot wants him to. He wants his wingers to get the ball and distribute it to the middle to find the run on from Wirtz or Szoboszlai or whoever. So it's not what we want or what I want personally, but I think it's just what Slot would prefer him to do.
I just say as well, we're not having this conversation if Gakpo's putting a couple in the top corner, but he hasn't started off that way, has he?
I thought he started the season well, and then he
failed off. And he's become predictable, hasn't he? That's what it is. I mean, the difference when you see that Ekitike, when he moves out to the left and he's going to the byline, we don't get none of that.
Isak did it against Southampton
as well. Yeah.
It is a shame, the suspension, because I think he would have started Ekitike in, and again, it's a young lad to making a silly mistake. He'll learn, and we move on. But it all of a sudden it does diminish. You've got two really top centre forwards, and actually he's in the best form of all of our forwards. Yeah. Hugo Ekitike now, he can't play. It is a shame that we're going there with that. Listen, first world problems, not, you know what I mean, first world problems, we've got to start Alexander Isak, like, oh my god, shock and horror. But it'll be interesting to see how sharp and how fit he is. Isak, Arne Slot kind of referenced post Southampton, they're probably not going to have him where they want him until after the international break, and there's still a couple of weeks left until he goes there. He says the time with Sweden will do him the world of good as well. I think it would be a real risk to play someone who isn't sharp against Crystal Palace, given how good they are defensively. We are going to need Alexander Isak bang at it.
Yeah, and he showed signs against Southampton. Right, it was only the League Cup, it was only Southampton, but you can only do what's put in front of you. And I think for the first half hour, he looked, I wouldn't say looked fully match fit, but he looked at it. He looked like, he can get some goals here. I think at the minute, because he's not had the pre-season, what have you, he's tiring quickly. It's not that he doesn't look good. It's when he's tired and he tires quickly. It happens all of a sudden. But give him a couple more weeks, he'll be fine. Like I said, the suspension to Hugo was silly and unfortunate, and it's just probably coming at the wrong time for us. But it's all right to have Isak, I think.
Go back to when we had Sean Dundee.
I reckon he'll be fine. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on. We have the Wirtz and Isak combination. We starting the game, it looks like we're probably going to see a bit of that as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Rodrigo here says actually that I think Wirtz and Isak start tomorrow, and Chiesa and Maka will come off the bench in the second half. The Chiesa one's fascinating, so let's talk about him next, Lewis. He spoke to the journalists after the game, and he basically said, well, he did say, the manager told me I wasn't fit enough last year. Now I'm fit. And he has been getting more minutes. I think he said, I've got more minutes this year than I had last year already, given how little he played in terms of in the league. He does look sharp when he comes on. Every time we've seen him, he does look like a genuine goal threat, and that does ease this Ekitike thing a little bit. That, if it's going to have to be Chiesa centre forward, I think that's fine.
Well, he got that goal against Newcastle, didn't he, last season in the Cup when he came on through the middle. He's an effective, versatile player. And I think he's cursed in the sense of you're never going to dislodge Salah, like full-time. That's not going to happen. We've just signed Cody Gakpo on a long-term contract. And Ngamoa's got a path to the first team. You've just signed these strikers. But I am so happy for him in the sense of, like, this summer, he could have left because he wants to be in the Italy squad. And I think it was up for discussion at one point. I don't think that Bournemouth goal did him any favours. Scored that and we've said, right, we've got to keep you around. Then drop from the Champions League squad. He's back in it, of course, but not even on the bench for Everton. but his work rate, his tenacity, like that game against Southampton, there was nothing coming from the wings. It's him pressing. He was launching himself at defenders. He was getting stuck into every tackle, created 2 goals from the right and the left. You need players like that. Like, I've said it a billion times in the past, like Michael Thomas used to be loved by people because he was so versatile. He could play defence, play midfield. James Milner, same story. When Mark Walter started, he was a striker, got moved to the wing. You need players like that who can play a multitude of positions as and when needed. So for Chiesa to be in this team, it's another bow in our quiver. We need players like that. So I'm made up for him that now, it's disappointing that Leone got injured, absolutely 100%. But this is his chance, and if he seizes it, he's got a real chance of being involved this season.
He's going to get a lot of combined minutes. I think he's going to get Harvey Elliott's minutes, so I think he's come on in the second half. He's going to get a third choice striker's minutes. He's going to get plenty of minutes this season. And I think the fact that we're discussing him now that he could have started shows he's like leaps and bounds from where he was last season for us, which is great because he's got an amazing attitude. But like we forget because of how little he plays for us. He's a top class international.
He was £100 million a few years ago.
His mentality is fantastic.
It's elite.
Yeah, his mentality is fantastic.
And you see him, and he never complains. He's always got a big smile on his face. And I'll be honest with you, when the move didn't happen in the summer, I was like, you know what, I made up.
Yeah.
Because he's the type of player, like you said, you need players like him in your squad. You need players who maybe aren't going to start every game, but when they come on, they're going to fight for every single ball.
Chris says here in the comments, I'd be happy to start Chiesa up front and use Isak later in the game if Palace are tiring. And I see that point. Yeah. But I actually, it's probably, well, I think Arsenal pretty much confirmed it's going to go the other way, Lewis. Yeah. That, you know, you Isak to start, Chiesa to come on. And again, same applies really. Chiesa against, if they are tiring, Crystal Palace, they are a fit team, but like, he will just buzz about. Like, that's the one thing he does. He is relentless. And by the way, he doesn't have to come on up front. There is a world where he can come on either side as well. So it feels like we're going to end this game with Federico Chiesa on the pitch. And it wouldn't be the biggest shock in the world if he's involved in a goal.
Oh, absolutely. We've not signed Isak to be the bring on late for tiring legs player. Do you know what I mean? He's an elite striker. Chiesa's got more of that sort of... There was the tackle against Southampton where he flew into the billboard because he was that committed to winning it.
He's such a steward out there.
Exactly. Like, mate, he's such a energetic player. When we used to talk about Nunez, for example, we used to be like, bring him on late because defenders will be tired, they won't know what to do with him. They're going to be defending a lot, you imagine, at points in this game. If Chiesa comes on and he's drifting out to the left, he's going through the middle, he's coming deep to receive the ball, running in behind, they're going to have a fucking clue what to do with him, mate.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. And by the way, I had Rio Ungamoa as an option as well, fresh off lying in his pocket yesterday. I'm sure Rio's in a good mood. His wages probably just went up by about 5,000%, given he was on a youth contract of his first pro contract. So congratulations to Rio. I'm sure I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of Rio and Ungamoa coming on at some point as well. Right then, we'll get your score predictions and stuff at the end, guys. Before we do, let's have a little trip around the Premier League, see what else is going on tomorrow and across the weekend. Brentford v Man United. Like, Man United on this crest of a wave. And Brentford are rubbish, right?
Hardy.
For them. They've won a game. Back-to-back home wins, by the way, for Ruben Amorim. I don't think he's done that before. Brentford away is the type of game they just lose. And it'll be interesting to see if they lose it tomorrow, because if they are going through this a little tiny bit of a mood change and things maybe are starting to get better, I can promise you now, United always lose that game. It'll be interesting to see if they lose it again tomorrow morning.
Even when they win as bad as what they are now, they'll be losing that game. So I think it's going to be off 3-0 as well.
You think Brentford are going to battle them?
Yeah, 3-0.
I wouldn't be shocked. He's got a bit of that Solskjaer about Amorim at the minute, where it's like he's losing his job. One big win, right, he's fucking fine. Don't worry, just keep going.
He does well against the big teams, don't he? Sometimes struggling on these runs. Interesting one, obviously, we're looking towards the weekends. Obviously, City, Burnley. As good as Burnley are defensively, that's at home. They're going to win. You would be shocked if I know Haaland's a doubt and stuff, Lewis. And Burnley, to be fair, are very resilient. But they just don't carry probably enough goal threat to get it in out of Man City.
Nah, and even if they do sit back defensively, I think City have shown they've got players from outside who will just take shots and they'll go in. Like Foden's against Huddersfield the other day was class. So no, this is, it's only going a City win. I'll be shocked if Burnley get anything.
They'll be comfortable as well, to be honest.
You probably think so, yeah. And Newcastle Arsenal is the tasty one, Ian. Arsenal's record against Newcastle actually isn't great. I mean, a lot of that is down to Alexander Isak, who now plays for us. So it is definitely worth mentioning that. Like, you know, we took the because Isak used to terror their defenders. He was the only one really who ever got proper change out of Saliba and Gabriel. If Liverpool can win, and that's a big if because it's not going to be easy at Crystal Palace, the pressure on Arsenal 4:30 on Sunday becomes massive. Like if they lose to a team who they've lost before against, who by the way, Newcastle very rarely concede.
Yeah.
Like their defensive record's pretty solid. I think it's only madly Liverpool, Barcelona and Bradford City who've got goals against them. That's a tough one for Arsenal. If we win, that is going to test them mentally, because they'll be thinking, if we lose this, we are 8 points behind after 6 games.
And obviously needing to score, need to go, Arteta's going to go without 4 central midfielders and 1 striker, isn't he?
Best striker in the world, I'll have you know.
I was going to say, you're dissing what did he win?
Fucking the arsehole.
the best striker in the world award. Newcastle, what I would say, against Arsenal, in particular matchup wise, Lewis, Newcastle won't be that fussed by the set piece stuff. Like they defend set piece. Obviously they're massive, got a big team, and they defend set pieces quite well with a big goalkeeper and a giant centre half who attacks everything. The goals are a little bit dry for Newcastle at the moment. Hopefully the new striker can maybe bring that
1-1, I reckon.
But there's a world here where if our Arsenal at this moment are lacking creativity, and it'll be interesting to see what Arteta does. You know, he's been on the front foot again, as this week, talking about the handbrakes and taking players off and stuff. But if he rocks up there again with Rice, Marino...
Hey, he got calls from CEOs. Thank you very much.
He did. No, CEO. Yeah, he did pin.
Do you remember that Brexit midfield? That's what Arsenal's was on Sunday.
They did pin Manchester City back. It's worth mentioning. But it will be interesting where he goes, because I think Newcastle are a hard team to create against. That's going to be fascinating. The mentality of our Arsenal go, because they. Listen, it'll depend a lot on how we go, which we'll speak about. But my goodness me, if they go there having to win, that isn't for your 6th game or whatever. That's big pressure. They're good enough to win, of course. They're a very good team, but when you're looking as a Liverpool supporter, that's fixtures the opposition might lose. I always think when they have to go to Newcastle, whether it be City or Arsenal, that you always circle as one as that could be one where they drop points.
Especially if you're the chasing side as well, that's the problem. So it's going to be difficult for Arsenal, but they need to, I don't know why I'm helping or lining off, but like they need to stop playing this defensive block and going, oh, the plan works. These are matches where they need to go and make a statement win. We did it. We got 2 goals put behind us, but we won. That's the main thing. If Arsenal go there with the intention of just don't lose, just don't concede, it's not going to happen, because Newcastle, as much as they've lost Isak, that Walter Marday looks decent. Yeah. They've still got Anthony Gordon, Jacob Murphy's been in good foot. Like, there's still good attacking players there, so they can get Arsenal. They're not invincible.
No, they're not.
1-1, I reckon.
A little draw.
I mean, 2-2. I'm all for a draw. It's more wishful thinking than anything, but
I think it's absolutely not wishful. I think it's a massive potential to happen. Little Desmond 2-2 for Lewis. Ian goes for a 1-1. So we're predicting City win. We're predicting Arsenal draw. Is that where we're at right now? I mean, is anyone else even in a title race? I'm not even sure City are at this moment in time, but I wouldn't be shocked if Chelsea drop points at home to Brighton. We'll see.
They've been awful.
So we'll see how that one all pans out. But back to the Reds to finish then. Really, really tough game. I think it's worth mentioning again. Like, you don't want to over-egg it, and you're not going to the Bernabeu or something. You're going to Selhurst Park, with all due respect. But it's going to be a tough game. My suggestion here is, Lewis, it's probably going to be a tight game. How do you see it going?
Mate, I think it depends how we turn up on the day more so than how Palace do. Because Palace this season, look, they've been pretty sustained in the way they've been playing. They've not had any bad games, not had any good games. It's just been pretty bog standard. If we go there with the full intention of, right, attack, break them down, we've got talented players, let's just get goals in, brilliant. If we sort of go like we did against Arsenal, where we're a little bit tentative to go forward, a bit more defensive minded, it's not going to work too much. It's just... I don't know. As much as we've been getting wins, do you know what I mean? Like, every match has just felt like a slog at points, like a grind. So I'm thinking 2-1, probably my pick if we were to give a score.
2-1, 95th minute winner.
A little late. It's been done before, hasn't it? Listen, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't be shocked if we drew.
Yeah.
But given the mentality of this side and the fact that we do have goals from the bench and a very good bench as well, I'm going to agree and say Liverpool edge it 2-1, but I'm with it. I think it's a tough game.
It could be 2-2. It could easily be a draw.
I also think, by the way, if you draw like Crystal Palace away, it's not the end of the world. If you've won 5 straight and then draw there, like I don't think head should fall off and whatever happens in other games, but I'm with you. I do think we're
on this amazing run of scoring in every single game. I would not be surprised if this was the one where we don't actually do it.
I think a draw isn't the end of the world. I think it's how you get the draw. Because if we're leading 2-0, for example, and they get back in it, then it's
that falls off.
That's
been done.
If we get the win, not the win, but if we pull it back for that draw in difficult situations, it's a different way of looking at it.
Yeah, it's been usually if 2 teams start off like unbeaten this run, you tend to edge towards the draw. And I'm guessing again, we've just sat here speaking about like it's tough to go to Newcastle. You know, the Arsenal fans or the City fans will be thinking the exact same. It's tough for Liverpool to go to Palace. But Liverpool, the good news is Liverpool will get to lay down a marker if they can if they can win, and fingers crossed they can get it done. I hope they do. Guys, thanks very much. Thanks for you guys watching or listening. We will be on the watch along this weekend as well. Liverpool kick off at 3 p.m, so we'll be live from 20 to 2 with the team news. You've got me, Paul and Chris in the studio, providing Chrissy P feels better. He's a little bit under the weather at this moment in time, but do check it out on the YouTube channel. If you're not already, please click the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. You'll get alerts every single time we go live. Do check out the watch along. We have a great laugh, and fingers crossed Liverpool can get another 3 points and make it 6 wins out of 6 from me, from the entire team, from Lewis and from me. And thanks very much for watching and listening. Catch you all next time.